Well, hey there, I'm Dr. Tom Ulrich, and I like to talk about leadership in engineering. Hey, this video kicks off a new series I'm doing on just talking about engineering culture. Now, a huge shout out to my new friend Eduardo Sanchez Batista. He left a note on my YouTube channel and said, "Hey, can you talk about engineering culture in specific?" And my answer is, Eduardo, yes, I can. So we'll do a series of videos, and this is the first one. So in this one, what I want to do is just share sort of a basic idea about culture. Engineering culture is culture. And kind of a basic idea about organizational culture just to kind of kick us off in this one. And I am going to try to keep all these videos really short. So the first one is that engineering culture, or any culture, tends to be like an iceberg. And what I mean by that is, it's the old thing. If you see a little bit of iceberg poking out of the water, there's a whole bunch of stuff underneath. Now, prior to Edgar Schein, who is one of the giants in the field of organizational leadership, he taught at MIT for like 47 years or something, but he's written all the definitive work on organizational culture. So prior to Schein, when people said, what is culture, they were a little bit unclear. And it kind of like, well, culture, that's like language and food and music and, all these sort of tangible things. And what culture said, Schein said was, no, that's the part you see. So for an iceberg, there's a little part you see, and that are the artifacts of culture. So the artifacts are what you see. So, in a society, what you see is how they dress, what their language is, what foods they eat. In an engineering organization, what you walk in and you'll see things. You'll see, well, when I worked at Parker Hannifin, part of the culture was engineers wear ties, which it's just, I did a few experiments not wearing ties, and that didn't go well for me. And, that was particularly a great example because I was working on a project with rotating machinery, and, I'm wearing a tie and, things spinning and tie, and, that could have ended horribly. And if you look at it calmly and dispassionately, in no set of logic does that make any sense. But that's the nature of culture is, the artifacts is it's almost sort of a badge. It sort of defines who we are. And that's why if you try to say, well, you can wear blue jeans instead of, we get dressed up, it just goes very awkward. So other things can be, at Tandem, you walk in and there's just simply a lot of Nerf guns everywhere. And that's an artifact. And, the classic rookie mistake is some manager thinks, I'm going to change the culture, and they go out and buy a bunch of Nerf guns, and nobody uses the Nerf guns, and they're like, well, I tried to change the culture. No, you tried to change the artifacts. So the thing you have to know about artifacts is artifacts reflect the culture, but they aren't the culture. And so if you change the artifacts, you haven't changed anything. It's because, as with an iceberg, most of culture is underwater. It's out of sight. All right, so what are the two pieces out of sight? Well, the next one is, both of them are, culture has to do with what you believe, what the organization believes. Any group has shared beliefs, and culture has to do with those shared beliefs. And so that's why, if you just give somebody a Nerf gun and they believe that Nerf guns, you need to be serious in the workplace, it just doesn't work. Anyway, so there's two sides to what you believe. So the next layer down is what the group espouses, what the group says it believes. So, for instance, very common in the United States for a company to say, we practice teamwork. Teamwork is everything. Come on, all say it together. Every one of our companies says teamwork is essential. So that's what we say we believe. Now, let me ask you this question. When you get your raise each year, is it based on the team or is it based on the individual? Now, not only is it based on the individual, I guess the question we should ask is, let's suppose you're an excellent performer and your team is maybe slightly above average. Let's suppose your raise was based on the slightly above average performance of your team and not the exceptional performance of you. How happy would you be? You'd be outraged. See, what it is we say we believe in teamwork, but we don't really. Because if you acted like we say we believe, you'd be outraged. So the final layer is what Shine calls basic working assumptions. So that's Shine's term, basic working assumptions. And I'd say it more informally. What's that final layer? It's what you actually believe. So there's what you see, that's the artifacts, and that's the part above the waterline. And then there's what you say you believe, and then what you actually believe. And a couple big pieces of news here. The first one, in no group of humans is there complete alignment between what they say and what they do. It varies from group to group, the degree to which those agree. I mean, at some point, if they're so disaligned, people start using words like hypocrite, hypocrisy, and, all that sort of thing, and rightfully so. So the first thing to realize is in no group are those things completely aligned. Now, the thing that really put Shine on the map in terms of being a leading scholar on leadership is he said this amazing statement. Conceptually, a leader, what they do is they try to align, get the espoused values and the basic working assumptions to align. So what he says is, leader and organizational culture are two sides of the same coin. So fundamentally, a leader's job is to align what they actually believe with what they say they believe. At any rate, so that's my first point of this video, is whatever engineering culture is, we have to realize it's layered. It's layered in the sense of an iceberg. There is what you see. You walk into any engineering group and you will see things, and you'll learn by how they dress, how they talk, how much noise they make, the volume in the room, the amount of toys around. I mean, you'll see it. That's the artifacts. But that's not the big news. The bigger news is what they say they believe. But the biggest news is the pattern of basic working assumptions. At any rate, that's it for this video. Part 2 coming. Stay tuned. Thanks for listening. Hey, if you don't mind, can you give me a like? Can you subscribe? It really helps me out if you give me a like, if you subscribe. That helps me out. And if you go to tomulrichconsulting.com, you'll see a whole bunch of videos. And if you search on Dr. Tom Ulrich on YouTube, you'll find my videos. And if you don't mind, spread the word. Thanks. Talk to you later.